Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron channel, Massive Iron podcast, Massive Iron Live. We are merging them. So for those of you that will be listening on the podcast, you can find these live videos every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern over on Massive Iron YouTube, Massive Iron YouTube. I got to close my window. Massive Iron podcast, the biggest podcast on the internet, the strongest podcast on the internet, and the fittest podcast on the internet. So for those of you guys tuning in, I'll be on as long as you have questions. For those listening on podcast in the future, all these questions are posted by folks watching. So just a note, couple of notes. If you hear some strange noises, my window is open. And we could get random noises because they're putting on some kind of a crazy festival. And for those of you posting questions, if they don't come through, that's not me, okay? That's not me, that's YouTube. Sometimes your questions are too long, and YouTube filters them, and sometimes YouTube is just funny. Let me see if I can close that window. Let me see. There we go. All right. We're setting up for a festival. All right. Let me know how you guys are doing. Post up where you're at, what you got going on this weekend, etc. I will be 54 in 5 days. Old. I'll be 54 in 5 days. And taking this weekend to celebrate a little bit. If I look worse for wear, I decided to have some barbecue last night, go meat heavy, and the place I ate from, let's just say it didn't leave me feeling the best. So for those of you that would like to check out the podcast, head over to Spotify and search Massive Iron Podcast. It's on a couple of different locations. I'm going to try to get it on more locations this weekend. So let's dive into the questions, guys. I will be here as long as you have questions. So post them up now. All right. Now, Stein is obviously first in. Stein got in like seconds after I released this notification. And I said, like a bolt of lightning. Never fails. Stein is truly a wizard. And 3 Days Grace asked, bro, how? I'd like to know how Stein manages to have the first comment on every live video. I have no idea. So Not Funny asks, is this the Alpha Destiny podcast? No, and I'm going to share something with you guys on screen share. If you go over to my website, superlivingtoday.com, and you look at the menu, you see coaching, which you should sign up for coaching right now. It's only $80 a month, 3-month commitment. Go sign up right now. You also see Team Massive. That's $99 a month, and you get the benefits. You get a lot of free stuff. Click on that link and check out the benefits. You get a lot of benefits and a lot of stuff. For as long as Team Massive exists, for a one-time fee, you're on Team Massive. Now, there's a podcast button in the menu. And somebody was asking, is this the Alpha Destiny podcast? No. But if you go over there, you will see the different episodes. And episode 3 is a podcast I did with Alpha Destiny. We talk a lot about benching, so check that out. That's a really, really good podcast. Episode 4 was with McAnimal. If you like calisthenics or are interested in calisthenics, this is a great informative podcast. And we talk a lot about things like dips and training during the pandemic. And the latest podcast is with Brian Sanders of Food Lies documentary. Don't miss out on this one. This is an information-packed podcast just filled with good conversations about the modern diet. So some of the stuff is controversial, like fiber being overblown. So I'd like for you guys to take a listen to that and see what you think. So no, this is not the Alpha Destiny podcast. All right. Richard from Scotland. How's it going, Richard? Richard is on Team Massive. And we got Rob McLean. Bob from Long Beach. How's it going, Bob from Long Beach? Thanks for joining in. Richard has a question. Any tips on using the Bulgarian split squat? Well, I find for me specifically that it is beneficial to balance myself. So if I'm doing a split squat with the left leg, I want to balance myself with my right hand. And I find that to be beneficial. I really don't want it to be wobbly. And if you can balance with the opposite hand, that is a good idea. Now, when you're doing a split squat or a lunge, one of the common mistakes is for people to put pressure or focus on the front leg. So they'll try to squat down with the front leg. What you want to do on a split squat or lunge is lower the rear leg. Now listen closely. You want to lower the rear leg and push up with the front leg. That'll get you that quad activation, that good quad activation, without putting pressure on your knee. If you try to squat down or put pressure on that front knee, you're going to be in a bad way. All right, guys, post up your questions. Wait. We got Fazlift sneaking in with the hello and hey, Stein. I had to fast forward in time to get to there. And where were we? All right. We were at Bark Ruffalo, not Mark Ruffalo, but Bark Ruffalo. They're going to be an Alpha Destiny podcast. Yep, and I just touched on that. Big Spoon Bear. I don't know why I wanted to read this as Big SpongeBob. What's up? What's up, Big Spoon Bear? Thanks for tuning in. Robert Naus. Is drugs talk allowed here? Last time I asked about TRT and no answer. A lot of times when you post, guys, just know that it's YouTube throttling you or not showing the questions. Now, Robert, drugs aside, TRT aside, I try to stay in my lane on this podcast. I try to stay in my lane with my content and talk about nutrition, talk about training, talk about the things I know. So can you ask a general question on anything or off topic? Absolutely. But just know I'm not a TRT expert, and, we can talk about it in a general sense. So feel free to post anything up. So with that said, guys, post up your questions. I'll stay on as long as you have questions. All right. Kalen, new member. Thank you. Thank you, Kalen. I appreciate it. What's up from Colorado? Felix, 79. Now, you guys, and Justin is from Hamilton, Canada, you guys got to really consider checking out Team Massive. I think we've got 100 people over there right now. And the more, the better. I just want to keep the conversations rolling. I want to keep the community rolling. I want to have it a nice, quality-sized community. So please consider joining us. Stein, when starting to train, how to choose from high versus low frequency? Well, if someone is an absolute beginner, they have a lot going on. They have a lot of neuromuscular adaptation going on, meaning their neuromuscular system is adapting, trying to make it efficient, trying to make the signaling, the muscles efficient, more efficient, so you can kind of make that pathway as smooth as possible. So with that said, some of the early strength can be neuromuscular rather than just muscle size or hypertrophy or adaptation, that sort of thing, if that makes sense. So when somebody starts out, it's probably beneficial right out of the gate, maybe for a month, to train 2 days a week, okay? 2 days a week, basically on a pseudo full body program, not a lot of volume, maybe 2 sets per exercise. Let's just break in. Let's try not to make ourselves super sore. Let's try not to kill ourselves. Let's try to get used to the demands of lifting. And then after that, it's probably a good idea for a few months to get into a full body workout. You don't need to overkill the volume. Maybe 2 sets per exercise, working up to 3 sets per exercise. It can vary on exercise to exercise. But what we want to do during this time is kind of get used to the exercises, get used to form, get used to the demands of more intense training. And then we get to the point where at some point, 2, 3, 4 months into your full body workout, you kind of know your limitations and what you can do on any given exercise. So then we might start introducing pushing sets a little bit harder. And once you get to that point, it's probably a good idea, in my opinion, to consider switching to like an upper lower. Less work, and you can stay on a full body, for 2, 3, 6 months, whatever. But as the strength starts to increase, you probably are going to spend more time in the gym. An upper lower would be a good mix of sets per day and relative intensity. I'm not talking about intensity, meaning weight relative to your 1 rep max. What I'm talking about more is the intensity that you feel during a workout. Like, wow, this feels intense. This feels hard, if that makes sense. All right, Big Smoke. What's up, Big Smoke? Helena Handbasket. That might be the might be the handle of the day. Congrats, I was 52 yesterday. Congrats on being happy birthday, and congrats on being 52 and healthy and happy. Stein says podcast is great. Thank you, Stein. And again, Faz. Trying to have Faz on here as much as possible, but he's a busy man, international businessman. So you all can go over to Faz's channel and pressure him to be on. Stein, what's up? Stein says, hey, Faz. Faz says, hey, Stein. And Felix says he's loving the podcast. All right, Shob Hit. I'm competing in a powerlifting competition for the first time next month. Any tips? A lot of tips. First off, I'm not sure if you are engaged in a peaking program, but it would have been a good idea to get engaged in some sort of like an 8-week peaking program. Because in powerlifting, basically, you're going to have an off season, right? Where you're trying to get your volume or trying to get your strength up using a little bit greater volume. You're not doing low rep work. And then you enter a peaking season. So you have 4 weeks left. What you kind of want to do during those 4 weeks is slowly lower your assistance work volume. Because what we want to do is we want to get you into the powerlifting meet. We want to rescind that fatigue, any general fatigue. We want you to go into the meet feeling fresh as possible. So you have a fatigue level, right? And by lowering the volume over time of the assistance work, you're going to kind of allow your fitness level to shine or your strength level to shine. So with 4 weeks out, I would drop, right now, I would drop assistance work to 2 sets per exercise. With 2 weeks out, I drop it to 1. And then the last week, you kind of got to time things a little bit. At your powerlifting comp, and I can't do a full course here on how to prepare for your powerlifting competition. It could be a long day. Make sure you know how long the powerlifting meet is going to last. Sit on your ass as much as possible. Okay, because you're going to be nervous, you're going to be jacked up, you're going to be full of adrenaline. You're going to be, if you're not careful, you're going to be walking around just blowing your energy load. And all that standing might be more standing than you're used to, and that can contribute to some lower back fatigue throughout the day. And then when you have deadlifts last, you risk having some lower back fatigue. So be careful with that. I would have some snacks there, something with salt and potassium and some simple carbs. Like you can get some honey stingers. There's these little gummy chewies, and some of them have caffeine on Amazon. Those are good things to keep in your gym bag. I like to keep things like combos and Cheez-Its, some kind of a salty snack with a carb that might digest a little bit more slowly. So that's good. I can get in my some of my electrolytes through combos or Cheez-Its. I don't like to eat a lot, but I like to keep putting in calories, putting in fuel in my system throughout the day. You want to stay hydrated, but you do not want to overhydrate to the point where you feel like you have to pee every 10 minutes. So keep the water intake there and keep the electrolytes flowing just consistently, okay? And the biggest thing is listen to your bar speed. Your second attempt should be something that is close to your 1 rep max, but that you know you can hit. Listen to the bar speed on that lift. If it's a grinder, you're doomed, okay? Because you probably, unless it's squats, you might be able to squeak out another 5 or 10 pounds on squats. If it's a super grinder, you're pretty much screwed. If the bar speed is normal, then you have to kind of gauge what to go for on your third attempt. So if your bar speed is good on bench, for example, and there's no slowing, there's a chance you could have 5, 10, 15 pounds left in the tank. It's hard to say, but you kind of got to play it by ear. And one thing, and this might sound silly, but I would, if your bar speed is good on bench and you're thinking to yourself, I might have 10 pounds left to go, I would probably go for 5 pounds, right? I kind of want to walk away from a meet, getting in 7, 8 lifts. That's my philosophy. I'm there to test myself, and next time I can try to improve over that. I really hate seeing people get in 4 to 5 lifts, and that's it. Because, yes, it's a competition. It's called a powerlifting competition. But in reality, you're just there to test yourself and get the best possible total. It is a competition, and there is strategy, and part of that strategy is getting the best possible total. So when it comes to that last, set on squats and deadlifts, I'm a little bit conservative. On deadlift, the last lift, I might add 5 or 10 more pounds because it's the last one. Let's go. Let's attack. Also, on your first lifts, especially on bench, go lighter than you want. I've seen too many people have a great 3 lifts on squats, and then they attack bench, and there's kind of this adrenaline crash, or they start too heavy on the first set of bench, like 10 pounds away from their max, and then they just flatten out because they can't hit the pause. So go a little lighter than you want on bench. And on deadlift, save your back for the last 2 lifts. For example, my competitions, when I was going for about 675, my first lift would be 600. Easy, get it in. My second lift was something I've done in the gym, and I knew it was probably about 5 pounds shy of where I thought I was. So I would do that on my second lift, and my third lift, that would be gorilla mode. All right, Rico Santana. What's up, Massive Iron family? Thanks for joining. Rico, post up your questions, guys. Post up your questions. I will stay on as long as I can. Brips, how is Buddy Pal? Buddy Pal is doing good. For those of you guys that don't know who Buddy Pal is, that's my sausage dog. And he has literally grown like twice in size since I got him. And he sleeps next to me. If you want to give me a big awe, he sleeps next to me at night. I let him stay in his kennel, but then usually after I get up to urinate for the first time, he hears me and he has to come snuggle next to me. So, hey, dog life, right? Dog owner life. Gregory Batista. Why are my squat numbers so close to my bench numbers? Hard to say, Greg. There's a lot of variables. Sometimes you're looking at limb lengths and leverages. Sometimes you're looking at form issues. And sometimes you're looking at diet issues. So it's hard to say without peeking under the hood. I know it can be frustrating, Greg. One thing I would have you guys consider doing, look, there's a lot of information out on the internet and a lot of confusing information. And we spend a lot of time trying to sort through this information. So I would consider joining Team Massive over at superlivingtoday.com for a one-time fee. You can send me form videos. You can ask for workout help. You can get all the problems sorted. And basically you get a coach in your pocket whenever you need it for a one-time fee. And I don't want to turn this whole live video and podcast into a commercial, but it's a really good value. And this is what I like to do, help people. So there are some things like this, Greg, that I can't help without taking a lot of time to look under the hood. And with my current client base, it can be hard to actually have the time to sort through this. Ace, I've been bulking with serious mass for the last 4 weeks. My gut is getting a bit bigger than I'd like. Is it too soon to reduce the maintenance? There's some red flags here, Ace. First off, the scale should be the determiner for your bulk. You want to be gaining about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds a month, okay? You need to be weighing in twice a week in the morning right after urinating, like Monday and Friday. And you need to track that. And if it's more aggressive than 1 pound to 1.5 pounds a month, you're just doing a fat bulk. Now, if you're not tracking at all and you just feel more bloated, that's a feeling, and that's not concrete information. So you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not tracking. One of the biggest issues with bulking is aggressive bulking. And all they are is fat bulking. You're not going to get any more benefit out of super aggressive bulks. All it's going to do is waste your time because you're gaining weight rapidly, and then you have to go back to a cut. So, Ace, I do not know your situation, but if you want to post up your weight and how much weight you're gaining per month, it might help us a little bit. Vinny P just signed up for coaching this week, and I appreciate Vinny allowing me to help. Just look at that. That might be the sexiest avatar you see all day, so make sure to look at it. Don't let your wife look at it, though, because that's a dangerous, sexy avatar to look at, and if your wife looks at it, could be all over for you, buddy. All right, Ace Bright. I'm also switching from upper-lower 6 days a week to push-pull legs. One thing I would say with the push-pull legs is try to keep it intuitive or flexible. Insert rest days when you need them. Don't feel like you have to do 6-7 days or whatever. 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off. Just insert rest days when you need them. End Gaming. Hi from New England. Thanks for joining me. Red Devil Daza. Hi, this might sound weird, but I did heavy lifting for a long period and overdid it. Not weird at all. That's pretty common. Now I've developed a bald patch on my beard. Do you think it might be due to physical stress? I'm not laughing at you, Red Devil Daza. I just didn't expect it. I just didn't expect that swerve, that curve in the road. So I have no idea. I have no idea what stress can really mess with the body. It can in a myriad of ways. And I wish I had some idea. I wish I could answer that question. I can make up an answer, but the only thing I know is stress is a killer. Scotty Mack, what's your current thoughts on your recent request to be sponsored by a certain Canadian bodybuilder? Scotty Mack, check out the podcast. If you guys are curious why I didn't go, Greg Doucette actually asked me to be on his channel. All right. And he, for those of you that are late to the party, he asked me if he could sponsor me. And no offense to Greg, but I won't be sponsored by anybody. There's only 2 products I love. Well, there's more than 2, but in the lifting industry, like the bench press slingshot, Mark Bell uses my picture in some of his ads, and I gave him permission because I've owned mine forever and I love the product. VersaGrips. I've owned my VersaGrips for over 12 years. I love them. They're like $60 and they last forever. Those are 2 products I can get behind. But beyond that, no. But as far as Greg Doucette, head over to my podcast. You see my website at superlivingtoday.com and check out the menu, Team Massive. Oh, wait, next to Team Massive Podcast. And if you look at podcast episode number 2, you see Greg Doucette's name. I talk about why I won't be on his channel if anybody is interested. And Rico Santana, what's up, Massive Iron family? What's up, Rico? Let's see. All right, guys, all right, here we go. Park McLean, back up to 225 after the rotator cuff surgery. Slingshot is a godsend. A slingshot is something I think all of you guys should eventually have in your gym bag. I get no affiliation. I get no kickback from Mark Bell, nothing. Okay? But if you pick up shoulder issues or have a bad shoulder day, or at some point you're just tired of, you want a little bit of support in your bench, or you want some overload in your bench, I cannot speak highly enough of a bench press slingshot. And I believe Alpha Destiny used overload devices like that a lot as well. Traw X, is Bitcoin a must buy? What is a must buy, Traw X, is Team Massive. So head over to superlivingtoday.com. There's no better investment on planet Earth than Team Massive. Bitcoin doesn't even hold a candle. All right, Big Spoon Bear. Shiba Inu seems like the coin to watch at the moment. Okay, you guys are really swerving off the map here. I have no idea what you're talking about. That could be a porn name for all I know. You could be planting or trolling for all I know. Not saying you are, just saying I'm pretty naive. Park McLean says, thanks for the VersaGrip recommendation. You're welcome. Amanda P. Do you still train if you didn't sleep and feel horrible? 100%. Amanda, there's a video I made once upon a time called How You Feel Is a Lie. Now, if you are injured or something else is going on that's going to prevent you from lifting safely, then you should not train. But one thing you will find out with experience is that how you feel is a lie. Okay, I've hit me and a lot of my clients have hit their best workouts. Some not their best, but some really great workouts tired, or sluggish, or feeling crappy, or feeling unmotivated. That doesn't matter. How you feel is a lie. How you feel, motivation, sleepiness, that doesn't matter. We're athletes. We have a training program. We go in and do it safely. Okay, so how you feel is a lie. I challenge you, Amanda, to go over to the gym when you feel like that. Obviously, listen to your body, but just track plus ones. It probably, on average, won't be any different from any other workout. Now, here's the video. And this is an oldie. Wow. Old video. This is from August 17th, 2015, how time flies. I remember making this video and it just seemed like yesterday. So it's the video is called How You Feel Is a Lie, Go Work Out. Check out that video. And Big Spoon Bear says, oh, probably in response to me, my puppy, who I actually am calling Mr. P. Snoops. Because he sounds like Snoopy. He makes these weird sounds. He sounds like Snoopy. So I'm actually calling him P. Snoops these days. That's his rap name, I believe. Big Spoon Bear, still planning to move to Scotland. Devon, UK is nice. It's a crazy world right now. We'd like to, we're definitely considering it. In 2 years, we're going to have our property paid off, our house and our business property. And then we can pretty much roam the earth. We're not tethered here. We'd like to sell it and find a place to live. But one thing that scares me is moving to some place that's going to be, I don't know, so many, look, I don't talk politics, but so many countries, and this has nothing to do with the vaccine, right, or COVID or anything like that. But a lot of countries have all kinds of crazy restrictions right now. And I do not want to risk going to a country that's going to have all kinds of crazy restrictions. In my old age, and I'm sure you can respect this, I just want to go someplace where I can be free to do what the big, hairy, ugly dude wants to do. And to answer your question, yeah, we're looking at Scotland or maybe northern UK or maybe southern UK. Depends. Thanks for your input. I got to head out. Thanks, Ace. I appreciate it. All right, Rory Hansen. Implemented your rep goal system a few months ago and have been seeing the most amount of gains with it since I started lifting. With that said, how important is pump work? All right, so the studies on pump, let's start with this. The research, as far as I know it, and I reserve the right to be wrong, on pump work is minimal. So we need more information on pump work, more research. What I know from my time as an editor, there were a few studies, at least one, that showed that there could be some hypertrophy benefits to pump work. Could be some. How great is this? Well, pump work is not going to replace progressive overload, good exercise selection, consistency. You have your cake. That's the meat and potatoes of your program. Consistency, good exercise selection, progressive overload. You have your icing. Those are those little tips and tricks and evolutionary changes you make to your program to get the most out of it based on needs, evolving your programming based on needs. So that's the icing. And then you have the sprinkles, and that's the pump work. The pump work is kind of like, to me, you go in and do your regular work. You go in and do the hard work. And then you're at the end of the road. You're about ready to leave the gym. Do you have any energy left? All right, then maybe do a superset, a drop set, a run the rack, run the stack, a pump set, 100 rep set, something. Is there any harm in that? No, as long as you don't get injured. So research aside, let's not shy away from something because there isn't any research there, because a little bit of hard work, it might make the 1%, maybe 5% of a difference. So don't rule it out if you have time. Astronomy 79. I think I might have shoulder impingement. Is it possible to keep lifting if I keep it light? Well, with a shoulder impingement, it's possible to continue to lift. I have a lot at normal weight. And I'm not telling you to be reckless or do so. I just know a lot of guys that have a shoulder impingement, me including, and I continue to lift normally. I'll get it taken care of sometime. I don't know. When you're old like me, 54, it's like a roll of the dice. Do I waste time going to the doctor or just ride it out anyway? I'm almost dead anyway, right? So that's just humor, folks. So it really depends on the injury. Not all impingements are the same. I would talk to a legit sports doctor, right? A legit sports doctor. Somebody that knows their stuff. Because a lot of times if you just go to a regular doctor, they're going to tell you, don't lift, go sit on the couch. Like, right? Yeah, that sounds like a really good plan for health. Be weak, sit on the couch. Thanks, Doc. Richie M, thumbs up. Thank you, Richie. All right, Rafael D'Souza, New Hampshire in the house, loving the podcast. I appreciate your support. It's funny, Rafael, that you mentioned you're from New Hampshire, because we're talking about places to live and places to move. And New Hampshire is super aggressive. I believe the taxes are low. They're trying to recruit people. And they're basically, as far as I can see, like, hey, this is a free state. Come, if that's what you want, come here. So had my eyeball kind of on the side of New Hampshire, like, what's up, New Hampshire? What's up? But I don't know anything about it, to be honest. Felix 79, which VersaGrips do you have? All right, guys, if you're going to get VersaGrips, I strongly recommend Pros. They have a little bit longer of a pad, and that just makes things easier to grip. No downside to getting the pros. And what are they, $5 or $10 more? $5 or $10 more. Definitely consider the pros. All right, guys, we're 35 minutes in. Got a bunch of questions in the queue. Okay, a bunch of questions in the queue. If I missed your question, it's not on purpose. YouTube can sometimes hide them and post up your question again. If you're tuning in late and you have a question, head over to my Instagram. Sorry, a little bit of indigestion. Head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman, at Ben the Barman. Slide into my DM. I try to get caught up on DMs once a week because I get a lot of them. So I spend about 2 hours once a week getting caught up on DMs. So please be patient with me when it comes to DMs. And yes, I did shave my beard. All right. Any thoughts on why this is from Slim56. Any thoughts on why I get sore muscles and or tendons? When I lift, the pain goes away till I'm done lifting. This is an ongoing thing, Slim, it sounds like. Like it sounds like you have ongoing issues. Are they joint issues? Ongoing tendon pain? Maybe you can send me a little bit more information, Slim, because I would like to know a little bit more information on it. Okay, we have a name here. Let me figure it out. Extrotic Replay. Extrotic Replay. Did I do good? I can never get my left lat to fully contract like my right, even during unilateral exercises with tactile stimulation. Any recommendations? Well, in lifting and in life, and this is going to sound very stoic, but you need to focus on what you can control. So what can you control? Number one, I want you to understand just because you can't feel them on an equal level does not mean that it's not being stimulated and growth is not being stimulated. Okay? Just understand that. So you don't always need to feel a muscle for it to grow. On squats, for example, over the years, I can always feel my hamstrings, but I can never feel my quads, but my quads grow like a weed. So focus on what you can control, consistency. Get a good exercise selection for your back and lats. Pull-ups, lat pull-downs, deadlifts, barbell rows, dumbbell rows, seated cable rows, machine rows, all kinds of stuff. Work those in. Get strong at those, and I think you're going to be absolutely fine. The end goal really is to build size and strength. So go into the gym, build size and strength, and don't worry. Don't worry. If something's dramatically medically wrong, you'll know, but I highly doubt it. Stein, bulking a few months and then dieting 4 to 5 weeks. Do you think this will help with how the body uses nutrition? In a very vague sense, like in a very general sense. What I mean by that is if you don't get obese, you're probably going to be a lot healthier and, more efficient. You can't maintain a reasonable body path or body fat percentage. The body's going to be a little bit more efficient. That's just a general opinion. I'm no expert. I think the body pretty much uses nutrition efficiently. Just we are what we are. Certainly there are some cases and things that can cause the body not to process nutrients properly. But I believe those are more, radical diseases or conditions. So I don't really think it's going to be an issue at all. Marco, how you feel is a lie is my favorite video. Thank you, Marco. I appreciate it. And I apply it to more than just lifting. Right. You can apply it to girls. You can apply it to work. Like you go to work and you can have a boss and you might feel like he hates you, right? So you could adjust your performance, like screw that, right? And then it could end up, I don't know. It could bite you in the ass down the road. Who cares what he feels? Go and do your job. Be the best you can be. Relationship or women. I think she feels. Who cares? Go talk to her or whatever your situation is. Your thoughts on instinctive eating. Well, Roberts, instinctive eating can work if you have very tight parameters. And let me explain what I mean. When we are looking at the inclusion of hyperpalatable foods or foods that are designed basically with a lot of oils and processed sugars and flours, and flavorings that are designed to want us to eat more, I don't think instinctive eating works well at all. Because you have these foods are nutrient light, okay? They're calorie dense and they're a time bomb. So I don't think instinctive eating in that realm is a good idea. The science on instinctive eating and the science, for that matter, on us guessing anything, like how close am I to failure? Usually you're way off where you think you are. How close are you to your calorie total for the day? The science shows us you're way off from where you think you are. That's one of the things I have to weed through with clients. People who think they're at a certain place, and then we have to kind of deduce or boil things down to find out where they really are. So if you are only eating 90, 80, 85% of your foods, meats, fruits, and vegetables with a heavy emphasis on lean meat, then instinctive eating is going to work better because you have lower calorie foods that are micronutrient dense. You have food volume in the equation. So you have food volume and a lot of nutrients. Your body's going to have a tendency probably, it would be really hard to gain weight. So that's my general thoughts. Derek, doing upper lower 3 days a week. Is it better to do just one version of each rather than two, seeing how they're not as frequent? So what Derek is saying is during an upper lower split, you can just do an AB, straight AB. Okay. So you have two workouts. You can do upper A, upper B, lower B. So you have four workouts and you rotate. In that sense, you're doing maybe deadlifts only once every 10 days and squats only once every 10 days. So that could possibly play into the equation. So what I would suggest, Derek, is potentially considering a happy medium where you have an A and a B workout, but you rotate exercises on some of them. Like on the upper, you could keep bench to start off with, okay? And you could, let's say you on your secondary chest exercise, first time on that upper, you do dips. Second time on that upper, you do machine chest press, okay? Let's say you have a lower, and on the lower, you lead with squats. And you do squats every time on the lower. You could rotate the secondary exercise between like RDLs or deadlifts or hex bar deadlifts, or you could rotate the secondary exercise between dumbbell rows and barbell rows. So I would say, Derek, that might be a good option. Is there a best option? No, it really comes down to how you want to train. Anthony Rowe, should you use the first set to progress in weight or wait until you reach your rep target on all sets? It really doesn't matter. What I prefer is to take the last set to failure, or not to failure, for as many quality reps as possible. You don't want form to break down, and there's no need to train to failure. So if you're doing 2 or 3 sets, the first 2 sets are kind of volume primers, and the third set's all out. You're going to push that using while a little bit fatigued. You could do the first set all out, or the first and second set all out, or the first, second, and third set all out. If you do the first set all out, the first set has to be the progression indicator. So say you're doing bench, and you're doing straight sets of like 180 on bench. Let's say you get to 11 reps on that first set, you could add weight. That's your progression indicator. It could be 12, it could be 10 reps. So I would do that if you lead that way. You could still train your second set for as many reps as possible, but your first set's still the progression indicator. My preferred way for clients is to work them hard. We're going to build up a little bit of work capacity, and we're going to push you when you're tired. That's how I like to do it. Is that the best way? That's my way. There's many ways. So on that, we use the last set as a progression indicator. Triax says, is RAD 140 overrated? RAD looks like a SARM. I have no idea about SARMs. In my opinion, I wouldn't spend a cent on a SARM. It's really not going to help you naturally in the long run, or it's not going to help you really in the long run. And for that price, I'd rather spend it on food. Program for absolute new beginner. This is from Fahad Al-Kirsan. Fahad, what I'm going to do is I'm going to guide you a little bit. If you're a beginner, you don't know where to start, I want you to go over to my website, superlivingtoday.com. Okay? We got a couple options. If you go to my store and you go to ebooks, you have, where is it? There it is, Massive Iron. Okay? This is about 200 pages of content. It has like 20 workouts. It's the best place to start. Over at my website, superlivingtoday.com, only $19.99. Now, don't go away. I also have a book copy of it. So if you want a real book, Massive Iron is in book format. The book copy has a lot of extra stuff. It's an expanded edition with all these extra workouts. So the book is rocking, just tons of info. Now, Fahad, the best for an absolute beginner, if you go over and join Team Massive, a one-time fee, you get to work with me for life. You get Massive Iron for free. You get Muscle and Brawn book for free. You get my bench press course for free. You get my Power Muscle Block course for free. You get weekly form checks for free. You get me guiding you for free. I'm not your coach, but I'm there for questions on programming, etc. So that is where I would start, Fahad. Get on track the right way. Let me help. That's what I like to do. All right. Will we get Massive Iron beanies? I can do that. I can pretty much do anything you guys want. The problem I have, honestly, Rico, is on my website, I have T-shirts and stuff like that. T-shirts in the fitness industry, I might sell 5 a month, and I'm not a big channel, but, I can put it up. It doesn't cost me anything. So just remind me, Rico, and I'll toss it up. All right, guys, we're about 50 minutes in. I have a bunch of questions to go. Keep them coming, please. I'd like to get this to at least an hour and a half. If you're new here, please do not hesitate to post up a question. And just a reminder, guys, this new format isn't any different from the old. I've been running live forever. This says podcast, but what I'm going to do is port this over to my podcast, and you'll be able to listen to it on Spotify and other podcast sites, as well as in video on YouTube. Scruffy like a boss, how much would doing a proper meal prep help gains? Also, I really appreciate your advice at the Massive Iron Live sessions. I appreciate you watching. So the biggest thing to think about here, Scruffy, is having a plan, having rules in place for eating, okay? If you leave things to just blow in the wind, you're going to have to fend for yourself, and food quality and micronutrients could suffer. So it's a good idea to have a plan. For meal prep, do you have to meal prep? Well, if you do, there's a couple downsides to meal prepping. Number one, you got to make sure you like the meals you're prepping, because if not, you can get to Wednesday or Thursday and be like, oh, I'm sick of this stuff. So a lot of times what I do is make 2 meals. I put them in the freezer and I have some choices. Make sure you try the meals before you meal prep them for a full week. That's a big one. Also, if you're a lazy fat bastard, if you go to Walmart or Kroger or any grocery store, there are some really healthy frozen meals these days that have 20 to 25 grams of protein. Fit Kitchen, I believe, Fit Bowl or something like that. Really good stuff. Is it as good as fresh meal prepping? It's probably just a hair below, just a step below. But the calories are pretty darn reasonable, and the protein's reasonable, and the taste is reasonable. And a lot of times when you go to the store, you can find deals like 5 for $15. So it's probably cheaper than buying all the ingredients and actually making them yourself. So that's an option as well. You can also go to Flex Pro Meals, and I get nothing from Flex Pro Meals. I've used their service on and off. You can get like 20 meals for $1.70. Okay, so you're like, man, that's expensive. Well, that's lunches for the month at like $8 a lunch. So if you consider the time and the money you put in to meal prep, all that stuff, and the money we spend on booze and fast food, it's probably pretty close. Flex Pro Meals, they have a lot of really good meal choices. You can go down as low as 300 calories, up, I believe, to 800. Anything from beef to whatever. I like them. I don't use them at all the time. What I typically do is stock up. I get like 20 meals in my freezer, and then I cancel the service, and I just like to have them around. So that's an option as well. Frederick, thoughts on conjugate training, considering longevity? A lot of hype. Conjugate training is not bad. You just need to understand what you're doing. Is rotating in exercises a good thing? It can be. It just needs to be done wisely. So I'm always been a big proponent of rotating in some exercises. Like I like the floor deadlift one week, and I like the deadlift off the ground or with chains the next week. Squats always kept the same. Bench always kept the same. But I like to rotate the assistance exercises. With that said, I don't like to get more than 14 days away from any assistance exercise. So I might do dumbbell bench one week, or incline dumbbell bench the next week, or alternating dumbbell bench, or whatever. So that's one way you can do it. The biggest threat to longevity is crappy form, and also overworking movement patterns. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is if you're going to squat 3 times a week or just do the same old barbell exercises 80% of your training, you're probably overworking the movement patterns, especially as you get stronger. So for really anybody, even power lifters in the off season, it's a good idea to have a good mix of barbell, dumbbell, machine, body weight, etc., and maybe in isolation. All right, Mike McClellan. On deadlifts, do you need to change from an overhand grip to an alternating grip? This is something I used to struggle with. I used to alternate my grip because my double overhand was not strong enough, and it was a limiting factor. And you do not want that to be a limiting factor, because you do not want that barbell slipping and placing extra stress on your lower back. So be very careful with that. Ultimately, if you're never going to compete in powerlifting, the 100% answer is get VersaGrip Pros. 100%. With, excuse me, with VersaGrip Pros, you can do a double overhand. You're locked in. It's a lot safer. And it works towards fending off or helping you with elbow tendonitis. BKS Gaming. I think I have one lat bigger than the other. Is there any exercises I should do besides single arm rows? No. Just like I talked about earlier, focus on what you can control. Most of us, nearly every one of us, has one arm bigger than the other, one arm stronger than the other, one leg bigger, one leg stronger. That's kind of the way the body works. It's funny that way, our dominant side. So just focus on what you can control. Consistency, a good exercise selection, and getting a lot stronger than you are. Don't worry about things like that. It's nothing you can control, but the things you can control are getting it bigger. Does it help to have a unilateral exercise in the mix? Absolutely. Dumbbell rows or even single arm Meadows rows, obviously they're single arm, etc. Mystery judge, jury, executioner, any room for your coaching program? Honestly, mystery, there's always room in my coaching program because the nature of coaching is you lose 1 to 2 a week, pick up 1 to 2 a week, lose 1 to 2 a week. I have a lot of people that have been with me a long, long time. I'd say 75% of my clients have been on for 6 months or longer. I've had people on for 4 years. But there are, honestly, 25% of people that come, do their 3 months. Maybe they're not ready for it. So they move on, or maybe they learned a few things and move on, or a lot of people's financial situations change. So that bottom 25% of clients is more of the flux clients. And I pretty much always have room. I took on 2 new clients yesterday, but I believe I have a couple spots left open. I always keep a couple spots left open. I don't push coaching a lot on here because I tend to get people signing up without me pushing it. But man, I live here in my office, so even if I went a little bit high on clients, I just spend the time. So head over to superlivingtoday.com, click the coaching tab, and just do the power building coaching. I'll be glad to help. Milo, hey, I'm 46. I lost 10 kilograms, and now I bulk 1 or 2 a month, but my weight don't go up. I started at 2,500, and now I'm at 2,850 calories. If your weight's not going up, what I would do, Milo, is I would take it to 30-50. Okay, 30-50. Weigh yourself twice a week on Monday and Friday. Get up after you urinate, step on the scale, and write it down. And watch it. If after 2 weeks you're still the same weight, then we're going to bump it another 150 calories. Beyond that, Milo, head over to superlivingtoday.com. Right up there. Join Team Massive and you get some personal help from me, so I'll make sure you get there. Traw X, barbell overhead press, dumbbell press, and machine overhead press effective in one workout day or overkill. You know what, Traw? Those are the types of workouts that got me the best results. Just ball-busting brutality. Like on chest, barbell bench, dumbbell bench, machine chest press, dips. Maybe an isolation exercise. Shoulders, I would always do a barbell, a dumbbell, and a machine, and maybe an isolation. So yeah, you can do them. Not overkill. Just listen to your body, train smart. Josh, do you think fats are important, crucial in diet? 179.2%. Fats are extremely important. They're necessary for brain health, for skin health, for organ health, everything. All aspects of the body, you need fats. What you don't want to do is get the majority of your fats from seed and veggie oil. And people are like, are you saying are you trying to demonize these food choices? What I'm trying to do is get you guys to eat more micronutrient dense foods, better choices. Avocado, nuts, a little bit of dairy, the natural fat found in good protein sources. So yeah, you need fats. You need fat in your diet, preferably animal fat, but other fats as well. Just try to get the majority of your fats from things other than veggie and seed oil. But yes, organ health, brain health, pretty much everything you need fats for. Raphael, New Hampshire is awesome. No state taxes. It's growing fast and very free. Lots of trails, great beaches. We roll out the red carpet for you. Here we come, Raphael. Here we come. The only thing I'm concerned about is the weather. Like, I'm from Wisconsin, and it's freezing during winter. And you have like 4 good months a year, and then when you have the 4 good months, it's filled with bugs. So New Hampshire could be paradise, but I got to check on that weather, and I got to check on the bugs. All right, Slim. For the past 3 weeks or so, I've been getting pain in my right elbow bicep. Sounds like tendonitis. It's the palm side of my elbow. When I lift, I don't feel any pain. Then it comes back after and done lifting. When you say the palm size of your elbow, are you saying the inside, like where your bicep tendon is, or on the inside of your elbow, like here? If it's on the inside of your elbow, that's generally tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, or elbow tendonitis. A lot of people don't understand this. And in the lifting community, I'm not talking about you, Slim. I'm talking about experts, right? Experts don't understand this. They call it, why do tennis players and golfers get tennis elbow and golfer's elbow? They're gripping all the time. So all the grip work we do on back day, and more so on back day, but we also do a lot of it, just holding barbells. But on back day, the grip is worked a lot harder. That's where we run into a lot of issues, contributors to elbow tendonitis. So I'm guessing, Slim, you may be experiencing elbow tendonitis. I need more information, but you need to get VersaGrip Pros yesterday. They're like $65. They'll last forever, and you guys got to get them. You got to get them. You do not want to deal with brutal elbow tendonitis. I had awful elbow tendonitis when I started using VersaGrips. After like a year, it was completely gone. I never deal with it now, and I'm lifting heavier than ever. How can one fix the arm is weaker? The one arm is weaker while the other arm lifting. Like I mentioned earlier, one arm is weaker, one arm is stronger. You can't do anything. All you can do is focus on what you can control. Having a good exercise selection, getting a lot stronger than you are now, and not worrying about it. When it comes to exercises where I notice one arm is weaker, I progress based on the progression indicator on the weak arm. So on dumbbell rows, let's say I do 200 for 8 on the left arm, which is weaker, and 200, and then I switch over to the right arm. I'll stop after 8 reps. So what I do on the left arm is going to dictate what I do on the right arm. The weaker arm is the progression indicator for me. Andreas, shoe recommendation for trail running if I have underpronation. Andreas, I'm going to be honest with you in that is not an area I'm an expert in. Like, I'm not an expert in shoes for specific, issues. So I hope you understand. There are a lot of social media and YouTube guys out there that will use their position to be experts in everything. And I hope you can respect when I don't know something, I'm going to tell you I don't know, because I don't want to sit here and pretend I really don't know. What I would do is find a running store and, excuse me, usually they'll allow you to try on the shoes and actually run on a treadmill with them just to kind of get the feel. So I would do some research. I would do some further research and maybe head to a running store. All right. Bullets CF. How can I incline 225 by 8 and flat only 225 by 12? I feel that's unproportional. All right, what I'm going to do for reference for you guys is I'm going to head over to the handy dandy 1 rep max calculator. So let's compare 1 rep max calculators. Okay, we're going to move this to pounds. We'll bump that up a little bit. Okay, 225. Just for our reference, 225 by 8 is a 1 rep max. We'll give it 280, okay? 225 by 12, 315. So you are about 35 pounds stronger on your flat bench. It seems like you're close, Bullets, but what is 35? That's over 10%. That's maybe what, like 12%? So I don't know, not too much of an unusual difference, to be honest with you. All right, let's get rid of that. Frederick, would you suggest someone with a long femur use a lifting shoe with a heel? Well, there's too many variables, Frederick, to just say yes, no, maybe so. when it comes to squat form, so many variables. So many variables. We have muscle weaknesses and strengths. We have limb lengths. We have confidence. And then we have just people botching form or whatever. So it's best to have somebody look at your form. And let's make an adjustment. It's best to try to see what you can do without a heel first. Then if you're struggling, we can play around with a little bit of a heel. I would never buy a shoe without fully trying to get your squat good with a flat-footed shoe, a flat sole, if that makes sense. Jordan, thinking about coaching. Well, Jordan, I'll tell you this. Anyone that joins Team Massive, and it's $99 for life, as long as I live or as long as Team Massive exists. But if you sign up and you decide you want to make the jump to full-blown coaching, you get the first month for free. Either way, you get Team Massive for the rest of your life, so you get my help. So just something to think about. I am one of the most, how do I put it? I keep my prices reasonable, only $80 a month. I'm with you every single day. I don't give you any cookie cutters. We talk on the phone, set up everything specifically to your goals. You want to run, I'll help you run. You want to train for a 100-miler, I'll help you structure your running. You work at home with limited equipment, I'll help you there. Whatever you need, I'll help you with. You get out of it what you put into it. So compared to what other coaches charge, I think I'm probably one of the lowest. Why am I one of the lowest? Because a lot of the other coaches don't coach full-time. They don't. Look at my old compadre, Mark Lobliner at Tiger Fitness. It's not a dig on him. But he has businesses and businesses and businesses and travel. And if he coached full-time, you can charge a little bit less because you have more of a volume of folks, and that's your main source of income. All right. Satin Durgit 4. Thoughts on people complaining about sweating and grunting in the gym? I don't know, man. I mean, I'll put it like this. The best gains I've ever had in my life were the times where I was serious about sleep and serious about nutrition and just going to bed dreaming of this stuff, right? I was fully immersed in the process. So if somebody's complaining about sweating, they can go kick rocks. I mean, seriously, it's a physical activity. Grunting, I grunt all the time. I don't even think about it. It's effort. If you don't like grunting and sweating, go build a home gym. Thoughts on weight belts? Good question. Now, a weight belt, you want to make sure you have good form before you even consider getting a weight belt. You want to learn how to brace on your squats and deadlifts before you ever consider getting a weight belt, because the main benefit of a weight belt is that you're going to brace against the belt, okay? So if you can't brace without the belt, you have no business getting a belt. So once you get the Pope's blessing, or the blessing of the big, hairy, ugly dude on your squat and deadlift form, then you can consider getting a belt if you want. Do I find value in a belt? No. Will you find value in a belt? Maybe. Is there harm in buying a belt? Not really. You get a Longhorn custom belt, 10 millimeter single prong. Remember that. Custom belt, 10 millimeter single prong. It's the easiest to get on. It'll last you the rest of your life unless you do something stupid with it. It's about $100. So if you get a belt, get something good. All right, let me get a drink here, guys. We're at 1:10. Keep the questions coming. I'll stay on as long as you have questions. We've got about 15 left in the queue. Where was I? I already answered that one. That's a repeat. Scotty Mack. If you do come to Scotland, you and Fiona are welcome as guests. Thank you. Now that the first time we went to Scotland, I'm going to be honest, Scotty, sometimes when we travel, um, because I've been doing YouTube for so long, what I have found, Scotty, is a lot of people will want to meet up, and then you'll change your travel plans and meet up with them, and then like 70% of them will have something come up. So what we typically like to do is plan gyms. I mean, we actually have tickets to come back to Wales, and we want to pop over to Scotland and train with some folks in the UK. So what we typically do is try to set dates where we're going to train and where we're going to train so people can come if they want. But, if I know you guys and, we have a relationship, we know each other a little bit better, we'll definitely set something up. Zed, for bench and overhead press, I feel like you can always just grind out more sets, lower the weight when necessary. Well, Zed, as long as you have 2 to 3 bread and butter sets where you're pushing them for progression, if you want to do more, go ahead. The only thing I would consider is adding an exercise variety. That will have value for hypertrophy and strength. So don't just do 10 sets of bench. Do your bench sets and dumbbell bench sets and maybe machine chest press and dips. That has more value. Timothy, hello from Colorado. Great info as always. I love my VersaGrip Pros. Thanks for joining, Timothy. And I have yet to find anybody who bought VersaGrips that do not love them. Mike Mack. I lifted weights 11 years ago. One time, Mike, that's just bad humor. But I stopped. I started back 5 months ago. Does muscle memory still work with me? That's a very good question. So, do we know scientifically? No. There is a rate of decay, I would imagine. What happens is when you fortify a muscle cell, it's kind of like putting an addition on a room. But from there, I would imagine you kind of photocopy a photocopy of a photocopy. I have had periods of time where when I went in the military in 91, did I lift a little bit? A little bit. But I didn't really get back serious into it until 97. So I had 6 years away. When I got back into it, boom, my strength and muscle went right back up. Some of that's mental, like confidence. You know you can get there. You're not afraid of it, right? Some of it, I think, is like lasting tendon strength, and some of it's muscle memory. So I think once you build those pathways, muscular-wise, central nervous system-wise, confident-wise, they're very easy to get back to. 10 years, I'm not sure. But I would wager you probably do a lot better than you expect. Zed, is 3 to 4 sets enough, or would I benefit from more? Need some context, Zed. You mean per exercise or per workout? Excuse me. HB, the Heartbreak Kid. Any experiences training clients with Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, or any tips for bulking training with the condition? I have experience training pretty much everyone with everything. Am I an expert on Crohn's disease? No. Am I an expert on ulcerative colitis? No. But what a good coach will do, and I hope I'm a good coach, is we will find what works for you and we will work with it. So we will find foods or eating frequencies or whatever that works for you, and we will work with that. The main focus is going to be training, obviously. And if you are consistent with your training and you're putting in a good effort, then all we need to do with diet is move the pieces around the puzzle in a way that makes sense for you. So it's not the specific challenge that I worry about, or it's not the specific challenge I focus on. It's me and you communicating. Okay, what can we do? What can you eat? Like some people, let's give you an example, HB. People come to me and they're like, I'm a picky eater. I don't like veggies, right? And I'm like, okay, list the foods you do like to eat. List the fruits you do like to eat. List the veggies you do like to eat. List the proteins you do like to eat, and we'll work with that. So if you're interested, HB, if you have any more questions, I'd definitely like to hear from you. And guys, don't hesitate to throw across off-topic comments, questions. I saw somebody ask about the World Series, and I like that. I'm actually going to give that individual a free Massive Iron t-shirt, so we'll get to that shortly. Slim, it's in the bicep tendon area. I ordered VersaGrips right now. Yeah, Slim, what I would do, just for clarification, so we're on the same sheet of music, is take a picture of your arm and circle the area with like a Photoshop or something and send it to me. Leon, how can I brace better and strengthen my core to avoid low back pain when performing compound movements? Well, Leon, I don't think it's a case of bracing better. Usually if you're experiencing lower back pain or stress, it's a case of a form issue that you might not be aware of. So really your best bet is to find somebody that truly understands form that can look at it. I'd be glad to help. You can send me a video on Instagram at Ben the Barman. Mike Mack. Oh, we already did that one. Ian, can traps be trained 3 to 4 times a week? Well, can anything be trained 3 to 4 times a week? Yes. What we have to look at is weekly volume, because that's the important thing. We don't want junk volume. We don't just want to add crap for adding crap. So we want to focus on quality volume. One thing, there are many ways to work the traps. One of the things you need to do is encourage time under tension or more stress, because the traps have a limited range of motion. There's your 1 inch, right? There's your 1 inch. 1 inch range of motion. So I do things in my training to get extra tension. Like I'll do a 5+5. You can do a 4+4 or 3+3. I'll do 3 reps and then hold it for 3 seconds, not letting the bar down. Then I'll do 3 reps, hold it for 3 more seconds, and I'll do like a minute-long sets. So you get in the reps, and then you get in some extra tension fatigue. So you really want quality work like that. Generally, some kind of rest pause work that involves static holds, things like that. And from there, you can build in volume. Don't just jump to 3 or 4 days a week, or say I'm going to do arbitrarily 15 sets a week. Start with maybe 1 set 3 times a week, like a 5+5 protocol. And you can Google, or you can go to YouTube on my YouTube channel, Massive Iron, and search for shrugs 5+5 or power shrug hell. Try to do that once every other day, and then add volume if you feel you need it. All right, Nicholas, thoughts on the World Series. Nicholas, I'm going to give you a Massive Iron t-shirt. Head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. Send me your name, address, shirt size, and I'll send you a t-shirt. World Series. So one of the interesting things about the baseball playoffs is like the Cardinals, they were just winning everything, right? And people were like, oh, they're going to go in the playoffs and roll. Like, do you really understand baseball? It doesn't matter what you do. You could win 162 games in a row, and then somebody with a lot of confidence or having a good day, or it's, also baseball is a game of inches, right? It's anything can happen on any given day. So I wasn't surprised to see St. Louis out. San Francisco and LA is going to be an amazing series. Tampa Bay last night against Boston. I think that's going to end up being a really amazing series. We saw the steal of home last night. And I don't know, Houston and the White Sox, that's kind of a sleeper series. One of those teams is going to crawl out of there, and they could go in and just, surprise the winner of Boston, Tampa Bay. I think the winner of Boston, Tampa Bay is probably going to have a chance to get in the series. And I think the winner of LA, San Francisco is going to get in the series. But it's baseball. Anything can happen. Assisted pull-ups to help regular pull-ups. Well, after talking to McAnimal on my podcast, the assisted pull-up machine, doesn't seem to be as beneficial as like band assisted. So I would probably consider band assisted pull-ups. All right, Robert Miller, I liked your deadlift 8 in 8 minutes with your huge gainer program. Upgraded to your massive iron 3-day program with the 2x5. Should I stick with 8 and 8? Man, a lot of people love that. And I actually moved it to 10 minutes, generally moved my general advice to 10 minutes. So we try to do like 12 and 10 minutes now. So yeah, you can stick with that 100%. There's no right and wrong. I love that protocol, so I would definitely stick with it. Park, are you still off beer? Well, Park, I'm sad to report we were off beer and then we got on beer again. So right now, though, we are looking at we're looking at ramping up our running, and I really want to make the switch to meats, fruits, and vegetables for a very long time because I want to tighten things up, and I just want to give it a try, see how I feel. So we're going to try to move away from alcohol as much as possible. On the long runs on Saturdays, we might stray, have dessert, a piece of cheesecake, a beer, or whatever. But for the most part, we're going to try to get off of it. Should females and males train differently? In principle, no. It has to be kind of the same pillars of success. But you'll see that when you train a woman, they can generally handle volume better, even sets push to max reps. And like a woman, when I was training my daughters, I found out like my daughter might be able to only do 2 or 3 reps with 55 pounds, but then if she dropped the weight 5 pounds, she might be able to do 20 reps. Women are ridiculous. So you kind of got to, I don't like a lot of low rep work unless they built a lot of strength. And just know that they can generally, like, if you give a man 15 hard sets, he'll be like, oh man, it took 70 minutes. That was hard. I give my wife 15 hard sets. After like 30 minutes, she's like, can I do more? So a woman can generally do more quality volume. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Best warm-up routine to bulletproof your shoulders. That's way out of my lane, Danielle. Way out of my lane. I've never been one to really care about prehab, rehab, foam rolling, cupping, flipping, all that kind of stuff. The best way to bulletproof my shoulders is good form, sensible programming, and I don't know, I feel good. Do I think you have to do all this stuff? I think if you're an average lifter and you're not trying to get Herculean strong, you could probably get to 225 by 4 by 10 on bench with good form and probably never have to do anything. So mileage may vary, but my honest opinion is I think we waste way too much as an industry on all these niche protocols that can keep you in the gym for 3 hours. Might some of them have a slight benefit? Of course. But in the long run, are they going to make much of a difference? You got to determine that for yourself. None of them make any difference for me. None of them are worth it for my time. Do tall lifters have any leverage advantages besides deadlift? Well, it's a complicated question. It really depends on the individual because a tall lifter might have longer arms and they might be able to do a wider grip on the bench, and it might reduce the range of motion, or it could increase the range of motion if they like a closer grip. I don't know. A tall deadlifter might have an advantage on sumo, but generally you don't see a lot of great tall power lifters. I think there's more disadvantages to advantages, to be honest, especially with the big, barbell movements. Frederick Tony, I can lift a decent amount of weights. My best for squat is 140 by 5. I'm assuming that's kilograms. But when I perform bodyweight squats, it's hard to even reach 50. I even struggle to get to 30. Why is that? That's conditioning. That's muscular endurance. The body is very specific at adapting to what you're doing. I could squat 6'0", I could squat 630 for a triple or a double or 4, but could I walk uphill? Nah, not very well. Not when I was a fat ass. My last race here 3 weeks ago, I walked straight uphill on one of the most brutal inclines for over 2 straight hours and didn't even bat an eye. So the body is very specific at adapting. So that's why it's a good idea to do a myriad of things. Lifting, maybe some general calisthenics, that sort of thing. Nicholas, how do I know if cardio is stopping me from growing more muscle? It's not. We got to get over this. No offense, Nicholas, not to you. But cardio is not stopping anybody from building muscle. This paranoia is propagated I don't know where. It's nonsense. You need cardio for general health. You need activity for general health. The opposite is bad for you. Inactivity, only 5,000 steps a day, not getting your heart rate elevated. That's bad for health. We need movement. We need something that gets the heart rate up other than lifting. It's not going to stop you from growing muscle. It's not. What's going to stop you from growing muscle is inconsistency, not pushing for progression, a shitty nutrition where you're not consistent with your protein and calories. That'll stop you from building muscle. We're not fragile little dolls. Rips, is it bad to arch your back when doing a seated overhead press? I like to have a slight bracing, okay? There's going to be an arch with that bracing. You got to lean back a little bit, right? You got to lean back a little bit, maybe 15 degrees. I get a little bit of arch, get a little bracing. No, it's not bad. I actually find it's better on my back than doing military press, and therefore I like to do seated. Did working out, this from Danielle, did working out in high school get you more girls? I didn't work out in high school. I didn't have any girls in high school. And then I went off to a college, New Mexico Tech, that didn't have any girls. There was when I was in New Mexico Tech in 1986, there was about 800 students. It was basically an all-science school. Petroleum engineering and astrophysics were the specialties. Only about 10% of the students at New Mexico Tech were female. This is back in 86. So petroleum engineering was a big area of study. And there was a lot of women in the petroleum engineering program at New Mexico Tech from the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, etc. So I would say about at least 50% of the women had burqas. I didn't really talk to us white guys. Just what it was. It was, I don't know, a cultural thing or whatever. Not judging. I don't know. I didn't pretend to understand it. I was a kid. I was 18. So there wasn't a lot of women. So did I get a lot of women in college? No. No, not high school either. But working out, it was good for my confidence. And when I got home from college, people treated me differently, because of my muscle, men and women. So it was a good feeling. Martin, my shoulders are bigger than my chest. Any tips for the chest to catch up? Just got to focus on what you can control, Martin. A good exercise selection, dumbbell, barbell, body weight, machine, maybe in isolation, and progression over time. That's all you can do. All you can do is all you can do. Shiv, are there any benefits of eating animal organs like liver? Yes. Organs are some of the most nutrient-dense foods you can eat. But they're a little bit exotic for most people. So you really have to find a way to kind of ease them in. Is there benefits to eating them? Yes. They would definitely be considered a superfood. But they're not a superfood if you don't enjoy eating them. The individual I interviewed on my podcast has a company called Nose to Tail, which actually has ground beef that has some organ meat in it, like a small amount, so you can't really taste it. So if you can do that, that's a good idea. You can find chicken hearts and chicken livers in the store usually, and they're a little small. You can dice them up and put them in with your chicken or stew or whatever, and you won't even know they're in there. So there's some ways you can sneak them in, but you got to find ways to sneak them in that aren't going to gross you out. J-Train, I have pain on the inside of my elbow, tendonitis. No pain during workouts, but hurts on the 99% sure it's elbow tendonitis. Get some VersaGrip Pros. All that gripping during lifting. It's the most common lifting injury. Helena, cheers. Longhorn 10 millimeter custom. Got it. Check. And Frederick Tony did verify that his squat was 140, not kilometers, kilograms, which I expect. Murtaf Ozbiljan, bar path during bench press, don't worry about it. You're overthinking. Get your form, get nice and tight, make sure your elbows aren't flared, pull the bar down to your chest with control, and then just press up. Bar path is going to make a damn bit of difference. I don't care what anybody says. Any experienced bencher is going to tell you about the same. Just press the bar up, whatever way feels comfortable. Danielle, yeah, if we're wearing burqas, they would definitely not mingle with white guys unless it's school related. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the culture, so I hope anybody listening understands that I wasn't being critical. And in this day and age, I want to stress I was not being critical. But at New Mexico Tech, you had about, as you can imagine, maybe 40 women that weren't from the Middle East, weren't wearing burqas, with 800 guys. Your odds were pretty low. I'm a calorie deficit. Once a month I have junk day, and after that I add 1 rep to every exercise from that day on. Is this an okay trade? Lifting isn't going to burn that many calories. 1 day a week of having junk really isn't going to add weight. So I won't worry about it, man. Don't change your workout. Don't ever use resistance training to try to burn calories. It's just, if you're going to eat a little bit more, enjoy it. Maybe do 20 minutes on the elliptical. I would just de-bloat the next day. Neo, how's it going, Neo? One of my favorite clients. All right, guys, I'm at the last question, the last comment. So I'm going to hop off unless you guys have anything. So last call for questions. Type them up right now. Helena Handbasket. VersaGrips are super easy to use as well. That's one of the biggest benefits of using VersaGrips is straps are cheaper, but they're a pain in the butt to use. VersaGrips are super easy to lock in. There's only one exercise that I might need assistance with, and that's like a pull-up or an inverted row. Usman, any tips for, I have no idea what that means. I don't know if I'm being trolled either. All right, guys, thank you for joining the Massive Iron podcast, Massive Iron Live. Tune in every Friday at 11 Eastern on YouTube. Check out my podcast. Head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com, superlivingtoday.com. And Usman says, skinny fat people. Usman says, any tips for skinny fat people? I have a bulking and cutting protocol where you bulk for 4 months, gaining 1.5 pounds and cut for 1 month. That can help you recomposition over time while keeping your body fat the same. So check that out. I made a video. And Rob says, just tuned in. Thank you. Guys, you can head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com. Check out the podcast tab for latest podcasts. These lives are going to go in the podcast every week. And if you want coaching, head over to superlivingtoday.com. Click the coaching tab. I'd love to work with you. If not, join Team Massive. We got a great community, and I'd love to have you there as well. Over at my website, superlivingtoday.com, you can get T-shirts, you can get ebooks, you can get regular books, you can get all kinds of crap. So go get you some. crap. All right, guys. Talk to you next time.